We're way past the amount of time that we have told the jurors that they will be here. We told the jurors, now I remember 6 months, other people have said we told the jurors 6 to 9 months. We're gonna far exceed that.
Days 112, 113, and 114 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial were interesting. The state wants to introduce memes MOUNK TOUNK posted and footage of a YSL co-defendant handing Thug medicine in court. The state is trying to say that the conspiracy is still ongoing in jail, when it's really just people doing dumb shit in jail. It's not really a YSL conspiracy. And also at the end, you'll see Doug Weinstein pop off about the whole state taking forever on their case, and the judge responds. So wait to the very end, hit subscribe. Here we go, boys.
The transcripts, though, are 9 hours. We got them at 4:30 on Tuesday. I want you to know that I did not review them perfectly. There are some problems with them, and I don't want them to go out.
So the state sent them transcripts of the Woody interviews. Obviously, the defense doesn't want that to be given to the jury because some of it could be inaccurate because it's terrible audio. They want the videos to speak for themselves, not have a transcript to help them. So Steele's doing the right thing here, and they don't come in. They don't let the jury see the transcripts.
You know, I know the law, I know it's discretionary, but I'm telling you, they are not verbatim transcripts, and we got them very late, and this came up.
Got them late, and they're not verbatim, so issues.
And then please somebody correct me, but this came up a year ago. I asked about transcripts. So
I'm a little confused as to, you're saying you don't want transcripts to go out. What do you mean?
I don't want them to go to the jury during the 9-hour video played. That's what I believe is being played.
I didn't assume that they were going to, because we've, bandied that idea about, but we haven't dealt with it, and there hasn't been a request to have that happen. I think the transcripts are just for y'all to be able to make sure that all the redactions are what everybody agreed to.
Well, then I thank you, and I apologize for the delay.
Your Honor, I think there was a request to potentially send out the June.
Potentially. Nobody ever actually said, yeah, let's do this.
So we were just waiting for any, not objections, but any issues with the edits that were made. But that's the June interview. That's something that's not occurring until probably later on this afternoon. So we can deal with that at lunchtime.
Well, I don't know that we can. I mean, I thought we had an hour or less left on this transcript, on this statement.
Correct. So this is the January 28th interview. And then there's a February 21st before we get to June.
Okay. Well, maybe. I don't know that we've got time to deal with all of that. I think it would probably be easier for a jury to be able to have an aid to what they're hearing, but it's a little late in the game to be trying to.
Yeah, it's very late in the game. We're 19 months into the trial, just now handing over a transcript of your star witness's interview snitching.
Figure out whether a 9-hour transcript is accurate or not. So I don't know that I'm going to permit that at this stage.
So here's the jail call with Thug and Woody, and I believe Thug's sister and Woody's girlfriend.
Like they did holding me in jail. Shit, whenever I go to court, they gonna let me go. I just gotta go to court. Yeah, well, we need to try and figure that out. Cause we ain't in Atlanta. We won't be back in Atlanta to pay for the seat. Wait, like we can deal. Like if I just go tell the judge, one day I'm going and get you a court date. You know what I'm saying? Ask me, see what he say.
So here's Thug answering the phone.
What's going on, Slime? Say, hey man, I need this lawyer, man.
Thug said, "What's going on, Slime?" Hey man, I need a lawyer, man.
A lawyer? I've been told. They won't take me to court, and they saying the only way I get in court is a lawyer. I need a lawyer.
Who you want?
What you mean? Who I want? A lawyer?
Yeah.
I don't know no lawyer. See, I got a lot of charges though.
So just showing the jury that, first of all, they know each other. Woody acts like they don't know each other. But also that they say this is a gang leader getting his minion a lawyer, or trying to get his minion a lawyer.
Yeah, I have a lawyer. Or whatever lawyer you choose.
I don't have none.
Well, I could have somebody pull up on their shine and bring their shine to money then. So I can just make anybody go get the money.
Shit, we don't know no lawyer though.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know my lawyer.
You know my lawyer. They redacted the part where he said Brian, I believe.
Now, Mr. Copeland, the women on that call was one Deshaun, your girlfriend.
I recall.
Okay. Is the other individual Max or Dolly White?
I recall.
And is the last male that we hear, is that Jeffrey Williams or Thug?
I recall.
Now, back in 2015, you talked about the gun that Quindarius Zachary bought for you, or Little D from Cleveland purchased for you. Do you remember talking about that?
I recall.
To your knowledge, did Mr. Williams ever tell Little D to purchase that gun for you?
Huh?
She's asking him this because he said that otherwise in an interview. He's going to say he doesn't remember, but he said this in an interview in 2015 that Thug told Quindarius Zachary to get that gun.
The gun from the Dunbar Center.
Uh-huh.
To your knowledge, did Thug tell Little D to get that gun from you?
From me?
Yes.
He don't know. No, I don't know. No.
Your answer is no?
Huh?
Your answer is no?
I ain't never heard none of this stuff you talking about.
Do you recall telling the detective in your 2015 interview that it was your understanding that Thug told Little D to get that gun from you?
I don't recall. I tell this anything they want to hear.
There's a yawn.
And also, that last question, we all heard this honorable court's statement that until a foundation is laid about asking Mr. Zachary whether Mr. Williams, the answer was, I don't recall that ever happening, or I think he said no. And then Ms. Hilton said, well, you told that to a detective. He said, I don't recall I lied to the detective. And then we just abandoned it and went to, I'm going to introduce June 10th. So that's why I object.
So it sounds like he's objecting to not in the foundation.
You've established that it's a prior inconsistent statement, but what we were dealing with earlier when we were going through all of the statements is, does he even have any foundation to know that? And that was the foundational question, which doesn't appear to have been established.
So that's fine. We don't have to delay. We will extract those 2 portions out of the interview.
Okay, so you'll just take both of those out.
We'll take both of those out and we'll move forward with the rest of the interview.
All right.
Strike then, if you don't mind, the last question and answer, if the jurors can even remember what it was, without reminding them what it was.
Okay, well, we can strike it, but do you want me to do something to strike it, ask them to ignore it, or just move on?
I don't know if there's a striking of a question because he did say that in the interview. That's not a improper
Thug's face.
question. And if he says, I don't recall.
Okay, well, the thing is, you're supposed to have a foundational basis to believe he might know.
I don't think there's enough foundation for that. There's our first good look at Thug here on day 112.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am going to instruct y'all to strike the last question and answer that was asked and answered before the break from your minds and from your notes. If you don't remember what it was, then consider it already stricken.
What? Well, he's in possession of a gun. And then we found another gun in the apartment. So you got some issues going on. The gun you had over there at the Dunbar Center, that was Quindarius' gun. He purchased that.
The gun you had, Quindarius purchased that.
You know what I'm saying going on. I totally get it. You want to believe me if I tell you this. That's what I'm saying. Say you want. Say that again. Get out of here. All right, say you want to believe me if I tell you. Really? Just stay telling me. That's what I'm saying. You see?
He said something about Shannon on there.
That's why I say you got shit on top of shit on top of shit. And then the other shit is that MacBook computer that was in the house. MacBook computer? Yeah. And the IDs and stuff that was in the truck. The sunglasses and all that stuff. We know where that came from. Those 4 cars broken into yesterday. And if that stuff is in the truck you've been driving. And that computer.
There's stolen shit in his truck, a laptop and glasses.
Them niggas gonna take this shit. I didn't have no questions. Okay. We gonna let. Yeah, I can grab my stuff. We gonna talk.
Woody is not happy. He's just mumbling shit about his charges. He's pissed.
If you didn't even plan on killing me, bro, why you never told me? You know what I'm saying? Say you plan on killing Tit too.
He was just talking about them planning on killing him, I think. I heard that.
I ain't going to jail for him. But you about to. You dealing with them real folks. But it ain't me. It's Shannon. It's Shannon what? It's Shannon. Everything you saying to me is it ain't me. It's Shannon we talking about.
It ain't me, it's Shannon. Everything is Shannon. Just throwing Shannon under the bus.
Because I heard Shannon screaming at me. Loud. Like, pointing gun at like, flying car. You know what I mean? But I'm not retaliating.
They said I'm not retaliating. Everything else was kind of gibberish. But he's basically saying Shannon was mad at him for not shooting back at a car that was shooting them. So
5th row down on Mr. Burnett. Comparison photo Infinity Q50 and gas station still photograph. I don't know what Mr. Burnett's qualifications would be to compare two photos. So I'm just wondering how the state anticipates that playing out in court.
Okay.
So, Your Honor, he can be, his experience as an Infinity rep, if he needs to be deemed an expert to state what the vehicle is in specific photographs.
Oh my God, do we really need an Infinity expert, dude? Oh my God, do we really need that? That just seems so excessive. I just want to see phone tracking and other text messages, and like, I need to see more proof people are in that car.
I know, Mr. Steele, you had at one point suggested an interest in cross-examining Mr. Copeland as to everything that went on during the ex parte, and some of that is no longer relevant. If you want to cross about things that the state said to him or that he said to the state.
So she's not going to let Brian Steele talk about the ex parte meeting with Woody anymore. Wow. If you ask me, it sounds like Judge Whitaker got a call from Glanville, like, yeah, don't let Brian Steele talk about this anymore with Woody.
That's fine, but we have, I think, both circumvented the whole coercion issue, and he has now been properly and correctly advised by this court and had the advice and counsel of 3 different attorneys that I know of. So that should no longer be an issue. So I would not permit examination or testimony about that. All right.
Well, of course it's okay because you are the honorable court, but I will make an attorney proffer.
Okay. Because
if you accept it, I'd like to do it with Mr. Copeland, but I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Mr. Copeland on the 7th of June, 2024 stated, well, I understand the law. He doesn't have a 5th Amendment, but he refused to testify. And
Correct.
And he used the 5th Amendment as whatever, his statement. He made it clear to me as a reader of the June 10th, 2024 ex parte meeting that he was not going to testify. He said in court, outside the presence of the jury, that he was pressured. Please check the record with Ms. Winfrey. If he didn't use that word, he used a similar word. He would never have testified except for that ex parte meeting where Judge Glanville pressured him as well as Ms. Hilton. So I believe that it does go to his state of mind while he started to testify. In addition to that, Judge Glanville was with us since January 4th of 2023. This jury is all selected from the very first panel. To me, he was biased in front of the jury. I understand what you said. I appreciate what you said. No statement made by the former court disparaging of lawyers should be considered, or whatever the words were. But there's also going to be a jury instruction that nothing that the court says is intimated an opinion. And I disagree in this case with that instruction. I'm going to object to that instruction. And I need the jurors to understand that Judge Glanville, I will make it clear. I will make it clear. I will make it clear. I am excluding this honorable court. But Judge Glanville pressured him. And I will argue to the jury that Judge Glanville was biased. And that is admissible because it all happened in front of the jury. And from just Judge Glanville's demeanor, and I'm not here to hurt Judge Glanville. In fact, I like Judge Glanville, but I don't know what happened in this case, but I liked him before this case. But the way he conducted himself to people in this courtroom, I've never really seen a judge do. It is very important to me to explain that he was taken against his desire into Judge Glanville's chambers, that he was with Judge Glanville, Miss Hilton, his lawyer. I'll make it all perfect. If I don't, you could admonish me and the state can correct me, but I'm not here to snowball anybody.
So he just wants the jury to know everything about what happened, but she's obviously acting in the best interest of Glanville at this point.
I believe that Mr. Copeland will truthfully say that he believed that Judge Glanville and the state of Georgia are one. And that comes out when Judge Glanville specifically says, and I don't remember the transcript page right now, but it's something to the effect of, we need your testimony. There's no we. With all that being said, I'm making an attorney proffer that if you prevent me from doing that, and Judge Glanville prevented me already, I'm just telling you, he prevented me from cross-examining Agent Racy. He's an FBI agent on misstatements made by the prosecution, knowing misstatements, knowing the prosecution, it was Miss Hilton, knew that a gentleman who's the same last name as a court reporter entered an invalid coerced guilty plea. Judge Glanville stopped me again from getting into the truth of that matter. It's never been corrected. The point I'm trying to make to you is that all came out in front of the jury. So yes, I will follow your rule, obviously. I intend to cross-examine Mr. Copeland, not only what was said by Miss Hilton, but what was said by Judge Glanville. I will be respectful. I'm not here to, throw some odd names about Judge Glanville. I will just be very specific. And then if he doesn't answer my questions, I'm stuck with his answer of, I don't recall, or whatever has been going on in this courtroom. But I don't believe that you should limit the cross-examination. I didn't do that. All that to me, that was very hurtful to me. And I don't mean hurtful. I mean, it was offensive to our law. That's how I took that. And I know what you said about it. I know what Judge Krause said about it. I look at it totally differently. I've never had a judge do that. I've done a lot of appeals. I know you've done a lot. I've never read a judge doing that. I've never seen a prosecutor do that. So I think that the jurors are entitled to know, and I think Mr. Williams, because he's the one who, God forbid, gets sentenced if I lose, I think they are entitled to know what caused Mr. Copeland from the 7th to be locked up. The jurors saw that. I think that it is not irrelevant. I think it's probative, and this is the actual treatment by the former court and the current district attorneys of this case.
Okay, I understand your argument, and
Yep, you can tell by her tone she's denying whatever he wants to do.
I am not making my ruling in any sort of an effort to protect Judge Glanville. I do not believe it is relevant to the issues for this jury to determine with regard to whether
Totally not protecting Glanville.
Mr. Copeland's testimony was impacted by the ex parte on the 10th. The ins and outs of what happened in the ex parte with regard to whether there was a biased judge or not are, in this court's legal opinion, not relevant to these issues. And honestly, even the we need your testimony, Judge Glanville had made a determination that Mr. Copeland's testimony and compelling that testimony by an immunity grant was in the public's interest. And so the we there can very easily be understood to be Judge Glanville saying we the public and not we, me, and the state. So I appreciate your proffer, but my ruling stands.
Can I just add to that then?
Sure.
So it's in the eyes, the mind, and the ears of Mr. Copeland, not a reader who can say, well, that's the public. In addition, Judge Glanville said to Mr. Copeland, on cross-examination, you are going to get tremendous cross-examination, and they know you better than we do. So they know what you did. The they, I would ask Mr. Copeland, is referring to Mr. Williams, Mr. Ryan, Mr. Nichols, Mr. Stillwell, Mr. Kendrick, and Mr. Huey. And that presumes guilt.
I think that advice that these defendants, through their attorneys, would vigorously cross-examine Mr. Copeland is correct and accurate advice, and that these defendants know him better than the state's attorneys know him or anybody else is not inaccurate as well. You all could have agreed to redo the entirety of the testimony, or you could have asked to redo the entirety of the testimony on the basis of it having been.
She just wants to redo everything. She's like, Woody's been restarted. You're not telling them shit that happened. That's pretty much the gist of it.
And I would have considered that.
What did he get back to me?
You give me that?
Yeah, I give it down.
What's the thing you gonna say?
They keep showing up hours, man.
They're gonna come back to something.
Dude, I can't watch any more of these interviews. I'm sorry. I'm across the country at my mom's house. I can barely understand this shit. The power just went out and I lost 45 minutes of video, and this shit is fucking pointless, bro. It's Woody snitching about shootings and people doing this and people doing that. That's the gist of it. I'm going to go into the regular shit.
Don't get too comfortable. You're not going to be staying. I'm just going to be sending y'all home early. It's Friday, so happy Friday.
So this is a technical difficulty day, apparently. There was technical difficulties on Friday. So this is an Instagram post or something of TOUNK's social media. I guess just to show the jury that TOUNK was a YSL member. I think he testifies soon as well. Didn't really show much.
Is there anything added to this one that isn't captured in the still other than a good beat?
You just created a soundbite.
Wait, the judge just said, is there anything else captured in this besides a good beat? And Miss Love giggled about it with her fake, ain't even laughing for real. She said, you just created a soundbite.
The still showing all of the members of YSL and the post are the most pertinent parts.
All right, so then y'all don't really need this one, right? We just looked at number, was it 11? That was like the collage. Are there people in this still or part of this video that aren't also in that collage?
So the still shot is in the collage from the video, but Mr. Williams' head is turned away from
Okay,
the
so
camera
if you want to capture a still from that video that shows Mr. Williams, then you can use it.
Okay.
Okay.
Again, when they're talking about, I love my green heart, green snake, red hearts, emojis, we have jail calls that we have asserted are co-conspirator statements that involve Mr. Williams' sister.
Okay.
There's another exhibit, 405Y. This is an unrelated trip to the club, and now we have 2 videos, a collage, and I think 2 photos documenting this night at the club.
Okay, so which videos are? Because
It's a little cumulative. Like, do they need that many posts of them at the club?
does the state know whether the photo that's a big group shows Mr. Williams' sister?
She's not in this.
Okay, well then.
There's more pictures of people. Wait, what is this, bro? TOUNK posted this meme. You're about to get 20 years for a crime your best friend did last night. Did you snitch or take the beef?
So, Your Honor, the reason that
This is literally a shit post.
this meme, we would argue, is relevant. You're about to get 20 years for a crime your best friend did last night. Do you snitch or take the beef? You tell the punk-ass police to do their job. So Mr. Sledge, in his interview, he essentially said as much. But what he's doing in this particular posting is making a public proclamation displaying their belief towards snitching. You have not only Mr. Sledge making that lie to their mama and lie to their
This court is a complete disaster. They're putting memes in here that someone posts about snitching, dude. That proves that YSL is a big gang enterprise.
sister get into court and tell the guy's honest truth. You have Mr. Williams, who posted a similar video with Mr. Sledge apparently in the background saying, sort of signing on to whatever it was that Mr. Williams was saying at the time. We would argue this right here is more of that, this is who we are. You know, we don't snitch. You let the police do what they're supposed to do, but you don't tell on your friends.
The state has said they have a video of Mr. Williams saying things about snitching and Mr. Sledge saying things about snitching. So this is cumulative. Also, you know, the state keeps saying they feel this, they're saying this. Mr. Sledge owns and operates presumably his own Instagram account. At no point does he make any reference to anyone involved in this case. At no point is he saying he's speaking for YSL. At no point is he hashtagging YSL or at YSL, anything. He's making a comment as an individual on his individual page, and he's really sharing a meme, but I don't know why that's relevant, and it's certainly
Why do we have memes in this case, bro?
cumulative when the state just said they have him actually giving a statement and they have Mr. Williams giving a statement that's already in evidence.
All right, I'm going to sustain that objection on 403 grounds. What's next?
So the judge sustains it. Here's video TOUNK.
Hey man, nigga get me tell lies this kid, tell lies this mama, but get in the courtroom and tell the judge God on the truth. Y'all ass niggas, we call you niggas strip now.
That's the same thing Thug said. They lie to their kids, their mom, their sister. They get in court and tell the God's honest truth.
I think it's the same words. One time he's wearing a white t-shirt, it appears, and one time he's wearing a white tank top. I don't know why he recorded it twice.
I don't know why he recorded it twice. So they're trying to put in 2 videos of it?
We can just use this one, especially since he says black at the end.
Okay.
B-L-A-T-T.
B-L-A-T-T.
Black.
All right, so this one, and what's the number that you're not going to use instead?
399Y.
399Y will be out then.
I can understand why they want this one in. I mean, it's a picture of a group of people with red on and shit, throwing up gang signs. Whatever, dude. Hold on. Didn't TOUNK take a plea deal? How he posting all this about snitching, but he took a plea deal? I don't know if his plea deal is like snitching or not, but...
And while in court, on trial, they are passing Percocets, one to another, and we argue one to the alleged leader of YSL while in open court.
So now they want to show the video of when, I forgot who it was, I think it was Blaylock, maybe? Another YSL co-defendant who severed or took a plea, I don't remember. Passed to Thug in court, and Thug just kind of sat there awkwardly like, what the fuck are you doing? And then they found out, obviously, or took him from him. And they want to show it as the gang enterprise is still occurring in real time. Because they're doing shit like that in court and in jail and shit.
One of the assertions that we make regarding the conspiracy, we have contraband in the jail. We have stabbing in the jail of YFN Lucci. We have communications in the jail. These types of actions on the part of the defendants are the type of actions that we have alleged in the indictment, and it shows that the enterprise flows from the streets to the jail to the courtroom, and that the conspiracy is ongoing.
And what exactly
Basically what I just said.
is the evidence you would be introducing on this VGCSA?
The video of it. The video
What does it
shows Mr. Adams going up to Mr. Williams
Oh,
while
it's Mr. Adams going up to Thug.
on a break. He's appearing to dap him up, if you will. Mr. Williams puts his hand up under the table. One of our lieutenants goes over to Mr. Williams and sort of says, "Give it here." Mr. Williams brings his hand out from under the table, relinquishes the Percocet to him, and later Mr. Adams is searched. And I think more Percocet pills, more drugs are found on Mr. Adams. And the photos and
Okay.
tests of those.
All right. A large commotion by
Mr. Ryan. The deputies found the marijuana attached to, I think, his inner garments.
Okay.
That's when Lil Rod got escorted out of the jail and started screaming, and you could hear it in court like a year ago. It's on my channel somewhere. It's f***ing crazy. He was found with weed in his like boxers.
We have the video.
Okay. We don't know how it got there. I mean, on the Percocet, you've got an alleged gang member providing it, right?
Yes.
So how about we don't have anything like that with regard to the marijuana?
We don't have who provided him with the marijuana, no.
Okay. I think that the first three that we talked about, I can see how those would be intrinsic to showing the allegations that, you know, this is a continuing, ongoing RICO enterprise. Mr. Ryan being in possession of marijuana when we don't know where it came from,
The judge actually gonna let it in, it sounds like?
that one, I just don't see that following within. I mean, it shows, you know, what it shows, that he's in possession of an illegal substance, but I don't think it's intrinsic. So I'm going to rule that one out.
Yes, Your Honor.
The other three,
Your Honor,
yes.
we have an indictment of 191 over X.
Yep.
Okay, we also now have a list. At first we thought maybe they had abandoned these 53 and they were narrowing it down to 4, but no. It's 53 plus 4, 57 plus 191. That's 248, I believe. Uncharged events, or not
Uncharged events being shown to the jury is crazy to me, I'm gonna be honest.
substantively charged
Right.
events that are coming into this trial. The state keeps saying, and this shows the enterprise. Okay, there were apparently, I've seen photos, I wasn't there. There were pills that were recovered from Mr. Stillwell's cell, where he has a cellmate.
Okay.
Okay, there is
So pills were recovered from Shan Stowell's cell.
absolutely nothing about those pills that suggest they were provided by anyone associated with YSL. There's absolutely nothing that suggests that those pills were going to anyone associated with YSL. There's absolutely nothing to suggest that any proceeds from those pills were being provided to anyone in YSL. There was a phone. I have not received any information from that phone that suggests any link at all to YSL. I am not saying my client's a drug dealer, but people that are in possession of drugs, whether it be my client or his cellmate or someone else, are able to sell drugs without being part of a huge enterprise. And without any evidence that somehow this is linked to YSL, this isn't intrinsic. And just so you know, Your Honor, he is charged on a separate indictment. I believe it's indicted. If not, it's in a CP case still, but he is charged separately. In that case, it's pending in Fulton County Superior Court.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you for bringing my attention to that. Stillwell had a cellmate. Is there any evidence as to where the drug came from, or that it was his, or that the cell phone was his, or connected in any way to YSL?
We believe that the testimony from the deputies within the jail would establish his ownership of it, but more importantly, what we have, I briefly touched on it, was the other YSL member whose intrinsic act that we've not put in here. The pills, they were trafficking amounts in Mr. Stillwell's possession, and they were trafficking amounts in the other YSL member's possession. That is not on here, and that has been severed. They are the same type of pills, and they are a large trafficking amount.
Okay.
What the f was Shannon thinking doing this in jail, bro? What a moron.
And we know that at least that other YSL member smuggled the drugs into the jail, or at least into that area, through the courtroom. As it was described, it was a pharmaceutical.
Okay. So any evidence that what was in Mr. Stillwell's cell came from that?
Other than it was that they were just alike. Like they were literally at least three different colors and three different shapes of pills. And they were the same 3 different colors and 3 different shapes.
And you can establish that those were YSL related?
Yes.
So if I'm to accept that y'all have enough that you can make the assertion that the pills that came through some court proceeding to this other person who's not a part of this trial are the same that are in Mr. Stillwell's cell, then what's the YSL connection?
Not the same pills.
The same, shipment or whatever.
That person was in this trial during that time.
Okay, but them being in the trial and co-defendants doesn't establish what the assertions are.
So Miss Love's trying to say, just because they're YSL members and they have the same pills, she's like, that doesn't establish it enough?
Not similarities, the exactness of the, like.
What's the YSL tie-in?
Maybe approach with a member of the.
Sure. With regard to the contraband in Mr. Stillwell's cell, I'm going to rule that out as well.
Oh, wow, she's ruling that out. Stillwell dodged a bullet.
you may have another indictment against him at some point in time, and it would all be appropriate to come in there, but not for this case. Now, Ms. Abbasi, what do you want to say with regard to the other two?
Yes, Your Honor. If the state is going with it's part of the same transaction or series of transactions, then we have a very serious problem with proximity, because the case law is not anything a conspiracy does that happens over the lifetime of the conspiracy qualifies as intrinsic. It has to be closely linked with the others. Your Honor, I think, however, to say, well, it's part of the conspiracy basically opens the door to anything any defendant allegedly who is a member of YSL does, then automatically becomes part of the conspiracy and automatically comes in simply because it is intrinsic. I think with a lot of this, Your Honor, we're getting close to some due process concerns here.
Good points right here, boys.
The defendants are on trial for the offenses they were indicted of. They're not in trial for the enterprise continuing in 2023, that it was still ongoing. That's just not relevant. So here, we're expanding. That's, I think, a lot of what's happening with our social media and other things that I guess the state has found afterwards. They're now being tried for things the grand jury never heard about. And that's...
This is actually insane. It shouldn't be in there.
Specifically is a violation of due process.
I'm with you on that one, and I am very skeptical of the state's argument that any uncharged, not showing up in the indictment overt act that they offer could in any way support, if found, a RICO count being established. Let me ask you this, and this is entirely a hypothetical, but if this group got together and stabbed Bussy, not because he messed with
Bussy,
Mr. Ryan's commissary account, but because he was going to be a key witness in this case, and they, I'm sure the state, if in this hypothetical, would argue we're trying to send a message that he better not be a key witness in this case. Would the argument be different then?
Well, yes, it wouldn't be. They wouldn't be trying to admit it as an intrinsic act. It could be a crime in and of itself.
No, we're
dude, it's not an intrinsic act. It's idiots doing dumb shit in jail. That's all it is. Getting drugs, trying to make money in jail or do drugs in jail. That's all this is. It's not a YSL intrinsic act. It's complete horseshit. Should not be in this trial.
No, we're not talking about then they get separately indicted. We're talking about they're in the middle of this trial. This happens. It's not obviously set forth in the indictment because it just happened.
It would be 404B and probably fall into a category there which would make it admissible for a basis which was not character. It just wouldn't come in as under intrinsic.
Okay, so you would still make the same argument that it couldn't be intrinsic evidence even for that because it occurred afterwards.
Based on the definition I've seen of intrinsic, I don't think it's possible for something which
To say Bussy? I thought they stabbed Lucci. What was that?
comes after to be necessary to complete the story. Unless the story wasn't complete at the time of indictment, that's fundamentally unfair to try them for something which hasn't happened.
All right, well, I mean, y'all try to find me some more on-point law on both sides, please, if you could.
Doug Weinstein also filed a motion to basically cut off the state's time period on how long the case is going to go on for, like give them a cutoff, saying, F you have to stop doing all these witnesses if it's getting cumulative, or if a witness takes too long. He's about to speak on it right here.
I would like the opportunity at some point this week, I expect the state to answer, to respond to the motion that we filed, but I would like the opportunity to actually argue that in front of you.
Well, I mean, I don't know that I need a response from the state. I also don't need argument from you. I mean, I understand what you're asserting in your motion.
I mean, just today, Your Honor, they say that gang experts, for example, because that is one that we have gone to, that they have not been repetitive. But just today, and I wrote this down because it's just emblematic. Just today, Ms. Love said, quote, our gang experts have testified to B replacing C. There's a situation there where their gang experts have testified to the same thing multiple times. There's B replacing C. It's constant, Your Honor. And there's absolutely no reason that they should get to run this courtroom. Now, I'm not asking to run it. I'm asking you to run it.
I'm running it.
Okay? And you have the ability to put a time clock on the state. We're way past the amount of time that we have told the jurors that they will be here. And that is a factor that you can consider. We told the jurors, now I remember 6 months, other people have said we told the jurors 6 to 9 months. We're going to far exceed that. There's any number of reasons, and they're outlined in the motion. If you don't want me to argue it, I won't argue it, that we can put a limit on the state, or you can put a limit on the state.
Okay, I appreciate what you put forth there. I agree with it. I mean, it is granted, okay? I will not permit there to be excessive, repetitive, witness after witness saying the same thing, exhibit after exhibit showing the same thing.
Well, the relief I requested was to put a specific time, whether it be days or hours or however you want to do it. So if that's granted, I am thrilled.
Well, I'm not sure that I know at this stage, given that we have only not yet gotten through one incredibly long and somewhat painful witness testimony, what that time limit might be. I don't anticipate most of the other witnesses to be as long on the stand as this particular witness has been. You know, maybe let's just ask the state right now, like time-wise, do y'all expect any of your other witnesses to take as long as Mr. Copeland has thus far taken?
No, we didn't expect him to take them.
But there have been repeated witnesses that have taken weeks.
Okay, let me drill down a little bit more, okay? So are there any other witnesses that are going to have video interviews that are anywhere as near as this witness?
No, and for any witnesses that have taken more than a few days, there have been breaks, there have been pauses that have caused us to have to take that witness over a period of time longer than we ever anticipated.
All right, so I'm going to need an answer as to why there needs to be any other gang expert at all in some amount of detail. You have the state's witness list, so if there's somebody else like the 2 extra gang experts that you all looking at the list and knowing the case backwards and forwards think the person who's going to say this, you know, somebody else already testified to all of these same things, then you'll bring it to my attention and we can go through and and get answers as to whether those people or those witnesses or those exhibits are cumulative.
All right, that's pretty much it for the past 3 days. I had to catch up a little bit here, so bear with me if this video is terrible. I don't think it was too bad. I caught up on 3 days. A lot of it was boring Woody interviews. Hopefully the judge actually does that and limits the whole state from being annoying. Yeah, comment down below, hit subscribe, join channel membership. I'll be back home on Thursday. I'm going to try to do videos as much as I can while I'm at my mom's house. Love you guys. Peace out.